It's on Reno Sports Bar and Grill. When you come to Reno's, you better come to play. Dine and have a great time any night or day. It's on, we beat the rest. A great time is on tap. It's on, northeast and west, you'll find us on the map. It's on Reno Sports Bar and Grill.
Welcome to Pickleball, Michigan and Beyond, a show that explores the people, players, places, and most importantly, communities that make up pickleball in Michigan and around the world. Here's your host, Tony Conley.
Welcome back to Pickleball, Michigan and Beyond. I'm Tony Conley. Thanks so much for tuning in. Benjamin Robinson is our executive producer extraordinaire. And I want to invite our listeners to make sure you listen to past episodes. We've had some great guests on recently. Teresa Tarn, who is a senior pro based out of Florida now, but she's a Michigan product. We recently did a great interview with her. We had Ryan Fritzke on, who is the Senior Director of Product and Brand Strategy for Franklin Sports. And they recently signed Annalie Waters, who's the best pickleball player on the planet, to use their paddle and do some endorsement work for them. And we've got some killer interviews coming up. So we want to invite people to listen to those past interviews and to listen to what's upcoming. Our next interview, I recently met, and she was just so nice and so upbeat that I took a class from her and learned a lot. What she does with pickleball is kind of a family affair. We're going to get into that. Our next guest is Kelly Smith. Kelly, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. You're looking great, looking happy. How's life?
Life is good. Staying warm on this really cold day.
Yeah, you tell me about it. All right. Let's go back to your high school and college background. Tell us a little bit about where you went, what you did, how the experience was for you.
So I've always been an athlete. I have played just about every sport there is that doesn't involve any sort of paddle, racket, or anything in my hand. But I was a soccer player, volleyball player, basketball player growing up. Actually played soccer all the way through college, played 1 year in college until I tore my ACL. And then after that became a runner. So lots of sports, just not racket sports to start off anyway.
All right. So after you got out of college, what'd you do?
So I taught for 8 years. I was a teacher and continued to play soccer just recreationally, and actually coached soccer and coached a travel team for a few years.
So how does soccer correlate to pickleball? Tell me about how you first got exposed to pickleball.
Well, so it's kind of a little bit of a story with a few twists and turns. So soccer led me to running. And actually, my dad and I did a lot of running. We ran some half marathons together and some marathons together. And then he decided to ditch me and stop running, start pickleball. So, of course, then I had to switch over. And then kind of the rest is history. It is, as you said before, a family affair for my entire family.
So what made you decide to, okay, Dad, because a lot of folks, when they see pickleball at first, especially when they see some of the people playing, oh my God, it's slow, it's not fun, all these out of shape old fogies are playing. What made you decide to go for it?
Well, it started with getting introduced during the COVID-ish era, was when I first got introduced to pickleball. And right before COVID, we had actually moved towns. And we moved to a place that neither my husband nor I had roots in. And so when we moved and everybody kind of finally got out of quarantine and I had been introduced into pickleball, I decided that I wanted to start putting down roots in our city that we're at. So I went out to the local courts because I knew enough of the rules and everything to kind of get started. But it was actually my first way to really get connected to a new town, was to kind of put myself out there with pickleball. So it was more social is actually how I started, just to meet people in a new town right after COVID.
It seems like, and I'm a newbie, as you know, I've only been playing about 10 months, my wife and I. But it seems like the most challenging part about it is just once you learn the scoring, you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, the scoring is definitely the most difficult part. And after that, it's a lot of little things, but the scoring is the main thing. And once you get that down, it's pretty smooth sailing.
And Kelly, it seems like, I swear, 99% of the people I run into, it's a bug. It's an addiction. Once you start playing, talk a little bit about that. And why is that?
I think what it is that we're kind of at that point in life where not a lot of things are new, where we can find that next challenge, that next thing to overcome. So it kind of was like being a kid again for me of I can set a goal for something and I can work hard and I can actually see my growth, right? That doesn't happen kind of in that stage of life anymore where I can pick up a new hobby and watch myself grow. So that's where I really got the bug is like, oh, the sky's kind of the limit on this of I can work and just see how far I can get.
So when I took your workshop, and by the way, it was very good. I learned a lot, especially about serving it deep. Um, you introduce your mom and dad, and it's like, well, my parents are here, learned how to play with my dad, and he plays in tournaments and he teaches, and mom does the same. Tell us a little bit about this family thing you got going on with pickleball.
So my mom started, she was the first one who learned how to play and kind of brought it back to the family. And we started, as most families do, as a driveway family playing pickleball. And then my dad kind of joined the OPC, the older person's mission or whatever out there. And so he started to learn how to actually play a little bit more. And he eventually actually competed in the Senior Olympics out on the east side of town there and worked his way up to qualifying for nationals at one point in time. And he introduced me to my first tournament. I played with both him and my mom for a tournament down in Eaton Rapids. And most recently, my most recent tournament I did was actually with my youngest brother. I have two younger brothers that one plays recreationally and one plays more competitively. And my youngest brother, who's competitive, we did a tournament recently.
Talk about your tournament experiences. Did you have a welcome to the tournament circuit kind of moment? Like where did you get body bag? Were you pickled? Talk about that experience.
Thankfully, I have not had I've been pickled experience in a tournament, but it definitely is a different mindset. That's the big thing going into tournaments is that it's more mental than it is physical. And having that switch over to, and especially the higher up in the tournaments that you get is, oh, there's a lot of strategy, right? If my partner and I get in a lull, we have to learn how to kind of mix things up a little bit and adapt to different playing styles. And that was the big takeaway I took from my last tournament with my brother is that the team that ended up beating us and knocking us out ended up being the first place team, but they could adjust their playing style when they saw, hey, we're getting beat this way. They were able to adapt and adjust, and that's the biggest next step for tournaments.
And Kelly, that's something that I was real interested in. What kind of got me hooked because as a basketball coach, you think strategy. Played a lot of sand volleyball, and so when I'm playing, I'll hit drives to the right side of a player, left side, right down the middle. I'll dink, I'll lob, I'll find where their weakness is so I can exploit that. What do you think about that? Am I okay doing that?
I think that's exactly what you need to do, especially in tournaments, is you have to bring them into your game.
Mhm.
And you don't control the game and play to your strengths and also to their weaknesses. That's going to end up being where your team kind of falls apart. If you're somebody who dominates the kitchen, then you've got to invite that play into the kitchen so that you can take control as opposed to reacting.
All right, I have a question for you. I know what a pickle is. That means if you get shut out, you don't score any points. But in a recent interview, I heard the term golden pickle, and I wanted to ask the interviewer about that, and I just forgot. What's a golden pickle?
A golden pickle is when you start out the game and you go on a straight run to 11. The other team
Ah.
get the ball. It's just a straight run to 11. That's known as a golden pickle.
All right, I've got that. All right, so you're a pretty good player. What's your duper rating? Do you know, Kelly?
Oh, I do know my duper rating. Can't say
Mhm.
I'm proud of that, but duper has its strengths and its weaknesses. And
Uh-huh.
my current duper is around a 3.56, I think,
Mm-hmm.
like that.
And that's where I got to be somewhere between a 2 and a 2.5. Maybe if I'm lucky, it's up to a 3. The only reason I care is when I play against 3, 5, 4 players, I want to hang. I want to make sure that I can compete with them. So that's why I was curious with that. And also I was curious, Kelly, because you decided to start teaching. Tell us about your foray into teaching.
So I got into teaching because I saw a need for it in the community. Last summer, I have my two children who love to play pickleball, and they one just popped in there. And oh, there he is again. And they love to play, but there were places for them in the summer to do tennis camps and to do all sorts of things, but there wasn't a pickleball one. So I saw the need in the community and decided that I was going to go out and get certified, and that way I could run kids pickleball camps in the summer at one of the local parks in Lansing.
We're gonna talk a little bit more about teaching the younger players, but what's your teaching style?
My teaching style, apparently I get a thumbs up on that. My teaching style is I like the people to understand the why of what we're doing, not just the how to do it. For example, in the clinic that you did with me, right? We actually walked through and had you guys stand further back to explain why we even want to get into the kitchen,
Mhm.
right? Look at all the angles. It's not enough, I don't think, to just tell a student, get to the kitchen, get to the kitchen. Why do they want to get to the kitchen? What does getting to the kitchen do as far as cutting off angles and neutralizing that offensive advantage that your people have? So I really want people to understand why and walk them through, even that if that means putting down the paddles for a minute for them to understand why it is that I'm telling them to do what I'm asking.
All right, Kelly, when it comes to the youth player, something that I've seen happening in the state of Michigan and read that's happening across the country, especially at the middle school and high school level, there are lots of pickleball clubs. The Michigan High School Athletic Association is in the works of making pickleball a varsity sport. I know that's happened in other states. I know a lot of kids are playing it. Talk a little bit about that and how interesting that might be to get kids interested in physical activity and physical fitness as well as PE again.
Yes. So the one thing that I love about pickleball is that all generations can play it. My kids can get out and play with their grandpa. They can play with their uncles, and they can play obviously with their parents. And even it's so nice that here we even have a tournament that is geared towards multi-generational families playing together. So I can take my 7-year-old out with me and play in a parent and child tournament, which is really nice. But I love the fact that it's one of those things that you can become good at it fairly quickly. It takes a long time to master, but you can get good enough, especially for the kids, to start out playing right away. So I absolutely love that portion of the sport. A lot of schools have actually been doing it in gym for quite some time, and it's now that the parents are getting into it, I think, is really picking up. And you're starting to see a lot of parents and kids, even if they don't know what they're doing, but it's easy enough to grab a paddle. You can get a decent one semi inexpensively, and a bucket of balls, and just to go out and hit and keep kids moving, which I absolutely love.
So, Kelly, as someone who's a player and an instructor, I imagine you've been to some pretty cool gyms. Tell us about the coolest places you've been to, maybe in Michigan or around the country.
Ooh, I have been to several here in Michigan. Actually, I have a group of friends that we kind of went around and tested out all the different areas. So we went over to like the Schwartz Creek area. That was a fun one. We did the what is it, Dinks and Dingers. I think that was one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Out
Mm-hmm.
in Grand Rapids. That was a fun one because it wasn't just pickleball. They also had the wiffle ball court in there. They had a really nice restaurant, good food. And then we went over to Kalamazoo to, I think it's the Friendly Pickle that's down there as well. So
Mm-hmm.
around a little bit. I haven't found a place that I don't like yet. They all kind of have their pros and cons, mostly all pros. It's just a matter of, do you like more courts or do you like food there is kind of the difference in where you're playing. But all the courts have been great. The staff has been great everywhere we've gone.
So you and I were introduced by Jessie Stipkak from her
Mhm.
gym out in DeWitt Township, and she sent me a book, and it's called The Willow Creek Pickleball Mystery, and it was written by Liam Smith and Drew Smith. Who are these dudes? Tell me a little bit about this.
Well, I can do better than tell you.
All
I can introduce one of the authors here.
right.
This is
Drew, and I worked really hard on this book. He inspired Mom with some of the words. She wrote the pictures on ChatGPT. We named the book together. We made the dedication. We made the chapters. We made the words, and we had a lot of fun doing it.
So where'd you guys get the idea?
Miss Jessie.
Jessie. She challenged the boys. She introduced them. So both of my boys are homeschooled.
Mhm.
So they were introduced to a local author at one of the Kiwanis meetings that they went to. And they were learning about self-publishing of a book. And Jesse gave the author the idea of making a pickleball book. And he said, well, I don't know a lot about pickleball, but if these kids write a pickleball book, I will help them publish it. So Jesse gave them the challenge to see, can you write a book about pickleball? And they dove in with both feet. Yep. And they created an outline, and together with his big brother, they
chose the cover, and we made the book.
Yep. And we made sure it was
7 chapters long.
Well, it was several chapters long, but it also is a book that has a great moral to the story, right? Moral character is kind of the big thing that we wanted to emphasize with this book, as well as just a fun mystery book for kids.
So what is the moral to the story?
The moral to the story, well, it kind of gives it away a little bit. But let's just say that champions come and go, but integrity lasts forever. How's that?
You know, Kelly, I can't think of anything cooler than having your kids do a project like this at their age. You got to be proud.
I am very proud. This was something that took them most of the summer to write. They did about a chapter or so a week, and they did the whole thing all by themselves. They acted out all of the dialogue themselves. So all the dialogue that you see in the book is 100% authentic from them. They did a lot of the proofreading, and they actually have set a goal that next summer they want to do a follow-up book. They want to do a book a summer.
Oh, now how many have you sold, and is it around town anywhere?
It is not around town. You can get it at Jesse's.
But we're sending out 60.
Yeah, we have copies on hand. They are going to be at Carrabba's doing a book signing with the Kiwanis group, and they're going to be donating $2 for each book sold back to the food pantry.
Okay, I want to know when that is, because I want a signed copy. So that'll be awesome.
That is this Thursday, coming up the 22nd at Carrabba's Lansing. And with the Kiwanis meeting, you can also get their book on Amazon as well. So if you're local, you can get it directly from us at the barn at Jesse's, or you can order it from Amazon.
All right, enough promos for them. Let's get some promos in here for Kelly Smith, the instructor. And I'll tell folks, the instruction was great. You had plenty of help with your dad. And with that, he broke things down for me pretty simple, because he goes, oh, I'm kind of like you, I'm a banger. I had to learn how to temper that a little bit, you know. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So for folks who want to know more about your teaching and how they can get in touch with you, where do they go, Kelly?
Well, they can find me on Facebook is kind of the best one, but I'm under Kelly Lou on Facebook. I have been encouraged to start an Instagram. I have not yet done that, because a lot of
do it. Yes.
Start the Instagram, start doing the reels and all that. I'm not huge into the technology thing. I should be. But I try, to set a good example for my kids and not be on it as much as I can. But best way to reach me is probably through Facebook. I'm just outside the Lansing area, but I'm in the East Lansing area a lot for lessons. I also work at the MAC. So if you're a member of the MAC, I do lessons there as well. And then
the Michigan Athletic Club in East Lansing, of course.
Yes, Michigan Athletic Club in East Lansing.
Okay.
And, at the barn as well, we do some clinics. Sometimes they're just one-day clinics. Sometimes we do 6-week clinics. So you just kind of got to keep an eye out for that.
All right, you got a student for life, so keep doing what you're doing, and we look forward to the next workshop. We've been talking with Kelly Smith, who is a pickleball player and instructor and a great mom and kind of semi-author, if you will, editor. Kelly, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for sharing some time with us.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right, I'm Tony Conley. This has been another edition of Pickleball Michigan and Beyond. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Thanks for listening to Pickleball Michigan and Beyond. Follow us on Facebook and check out our website, pickleballmichiganandbeyond.com.
In a world where every structure tells a story, one name has been crafting narratives of success for 100 years, C.E. Gleason Constructors. For a century, we've been the general contractors of opportunity, the builders of dreams. From retail developments to state-of-the-art industrial complexes, real estate developments, and senior living communities. Our legacy is defined by the diverse portfolios of projects we've brought to life. With a commitment to craftsmanship, we've transformed visions into reality. Here's to 100 years. Let us help you expand your business. C.E. Gleason Constructors, building visions and turning dreams into reality.